What is going on, everyone, and welcome back to Bears on Tap. Duke's trying to be sly right now. Go ahead and crack them. You can go ahead and follow us at Bears on Tap or follow On Tap Sportsnet for all of your Chicago sports needs. I'm Lucas Perfetti. You could follow me at Lucas Perfetti46. And I'm also joined alongside by my guys, that pod guy, Duke Coughlin, and Beat on 300, Mr. Brandon Suarez. Trying something new for you guys, going with StreamYard. That's what the rest of On Tap is doing. We're a little early on training camp, so, there isn't a ton to talk about, but some more A-Rob drama has emerged. So, gentlemen, how we doing?
We are live in 4K, baby. That's how.
Are we actually live? I got to double check this too, because
we're definitely live. I looked on the Twitter.
That's right.
Nice.
So, Hot Mike Don,
everybody.
We're in the building.
Hot Mike Don under mad supervision.
Just got done watching the MLB All-Star game. That was a pretty good game. Duke's guys took care of business. My guys not so much. But Vlad Guerrero to win the MVP was a lock, and we walk away on the night plus with that. So always good to see that.
Duke?
Oh, dude, I really do like seeing guys like Lance Lynn out there. I mean, Lance Lynn's the guy who puts his meat on the fucking table every single time he touches the mound. Same with Liam Hendriks. It was also nice seeing TA go out there. Not going to lie, it didn't hurt my feelings not seeing Carlos Rodon because, dude, All-Star games honestly scare the shit out of me because a Chicago team would be the one to get like this ridiculous injury in an All-Star game. So
that's the only thing I was worried about all night. But having Hendriks mic'd up, even as a Cubs fan, was so funny in the ninth inning. He was just, I think he dropped the F-bomb. He said good GD real quick, but he, a very passionate player and someone that was real, into this game. But some beat on news. I'll actually be heading out to Detroit next Tuesday for Huskies on Tap to attend the Mac Media Day, and that'll be a big event for me. I'm excited about that. But other than that, I'm ready to talk some Bears football. Training camp is right around the corner, and like you said, A-Rob in the news again.
Yeah, I mean, let's get right into it. It's just so polarizing at this point, and I don't understand why. I think the writing's been on the wall for a little while. Doesn't look like he's going to get an extension, but I guess Ian Rappaport reported it today, which always makes it a little bit more official. But I really just – here's where I'm at with the A-Rob thing. I hate to toot my own horn, but I think I put it well. A-Rob, when he got to Chicago, A-Rob, when he got to Chicago, was very underrated. And the Chicago fan base, I think, elevated him to the point where now he's overrated. Because I remember when it first happened, when A-Rob first got to the Bears after his ACL tear and everything like that, I was arguing with people in the league, the fan base in general. I was a bartender for a really long time. So I would always talk to people at the bar, and you'd kind of get those fans, right? I'd always have to argue for A-Rob that he's a top 15 player. And I thought it was crazy to put him outside of the top 15 because I'm like, he's definitely in the better half of number one receivers. But now he's getting kind of thrown into that top 5 conversation. And I think we just need to reel it back as a fan base. Like, this is getting a little insane for me,
Well, if you pull up, I don't even know how to say it. I'm definitely going to mess it up. But if it's Spot Track or Spo Track, but you look at the money that he's asking for, $22 million. I understand that the collective bargaining agreement, and as players continue to get paid more at the wide receiver position, he's going to get more as the years go by. He's not a $22 million receiver. We have talked about on this podcast over the last year, somewhere between $16 to $18 million is where our comfort zone is as a fan base. What the number that Ryan Pace is probably telling Brandon Parker and Allen Robinson. I would love to see a deal get done, but I honestly just don't see it happening.
Yeah, man. And I kind of feel like every time a wide receiver that hovers in like the top 10, top 15 area is coming up to a new contract, they always kind of want to set the table and, be the next guy to be the highest paid or be the top 5 highest paid wide receiver. And like, I've never been against Allen getting paid, like originally when we started the extension talks, like I was pretty on board with it, extend A-Rob. I genuinely do like A-Rob as a player. But I just don't think he's truly proven that he is a top 5 talent. I think there's too much talent in the wide receiver core in the NFL these days, and guys who aren't getting paid, and guys who are a comparable skill set to a guy like Allen Robinson, doesn't have blazing speed. He's not like necessarily a ridiculously physical wide receiver. He's a great route runner, and he's great. He can catch. In man coverage, and that's fine. But like I see guys like even I was talking with Joseph the other day. a guy like Michael Gallup, who is coming up on a contract, and he's probably not going to get anything close to that type of money. And I think it's a very similar skill set. It's not that Allen Robinson isn't a great receiver. It's that I feel like, kind of like Lucas said, the fan base is kind of driving up his price a little bit more than it needs to be driven up. And a guy like Brandon Parker is going to eat that alive, because this is Brandon Parker's meal ticket, if we're being totally honest.
Yeah, I mean, and the way his agent
Ferrari Reynolds coming in quick.
No, but seriously, the way his agent Brandon Parker has handled things, that I think is part of the reason why it's pushed me away. And I can't say that has anything to do with Allen Robinson's game, but let's really talk about it, because I mean, if we're talking about building for the future for the Chicago Bears, right? In my opinion, I just saw the line and I think it's a reasonable line. Vegas set the Bears win total at 7.5 wins. 7.5 is rough, and that's in a 17-game season. Of course, B-Don's going to hammer the over. Of course, I'm going to hammer the over as well, but it's not too far off. And I think realistically, with the schedule that the Chicago Bears have, they're at max going to maybe get 10 wins. I don't see them as a legitimate Super Bowl contender this year. So for me to overpay a weapon, and I always hear the fucking argument. It's really starting to actually bother me. Oh, blah, blah, blah. Don't you want him to have a number one receiver, a true number one bona fide receiver, blah, 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 blah. Sure, yeah. Allen Robinson is a solid, dependable receiver. I will label him as that. I won't call him a bona fide number one receiver. He is nowhere near a Devontae Adams or any of those players, a DeAndre Hopkins, a Julio Jones in his prime. He's not even a Stephon Diggs. I still think, realistically, I think within 2 years, Justin Jefferson's going to have more to add than Allen Robinson. And that's not to say Allen Robinson isn't a number one receiver, but I don't think he's such a staple in your franchise that you need to have him here for the next 4 years. And I really think that, as crazy as it sounds, and I mean, I guess it's kind of coming full circle, because we saw Justin Fields with Deshaun Watson, which, I mean, that's kind of its own separate look. I don't even know if I want to touch that. But, I mean, realistically, Deshaun Watson, in my opinion, showed more as a quarterback in terms of reading and going through his progressions in his year without DeAndre Hopkins. Now, was the production the same? No, if anything, I think it was actually better. But I think the idea of having a true number one wide receiver with a brand new rookie quarterback, I think is also detrimental as well as beneficial, because realistically, if you have a guy that you can always depend on, that you can always force feed the ball, that's getting the number one read all the time. Because I mean, when you think of it, this offense is supposed to be ran through tight ends, running backs, and stuff like that coming out of the backfield, but we're running it through Allen Robinson, who's a possession receiver. You know what I mean? I just don't think it jives with Justin Fields' talent as well. He's not going to be looking for underneath possession type guys. I think it's going to benefit guys like Anthony Miller, Darnell Mooney, stuff like that. So I don't know. I just think for the Bears to break the bank on him and not do it for an offensive lineman, which is, I think, the most important thing going forward for Justin Fields. I don't know, especially in a what seems to be a non-break make or break year for the front office. It doesn't seem like they need to win at all because of this move they made. I don't know. That's just how I see it.
I don't know. I'm under the impression that Darnell Mooney is a big thing being thrown into this situation that nobody's talking about. I've kind of made the point before that, while Darnell Mooney's size might be used against him and all that, I think he can legitimately be a number one receiver in this league one day. And hopefully it's with the Chicago Bears for the long haul, and that's a situation where you have to look at, would you be willing to pay Allen Robinson that type of money and commit that long-term deal to him when you have a guy like Darnell Mooney in not necessarily a few years, but down the line that could potentially affect signing him long-term or signing him to an extension before we get to the point where we have to say franchise tag him or accept his fifth-year option or anything like that. So it's kind of looking down the road. I think if we don't have a Darnell Mooney on the roster, I think Allen Robinson gets that contract signed pretty quick, because the depth immediately falls past wide receiver 2 immediately. But I think with Darnell Mooney on the roster, I think that's kind of keeping the team from really trying to overpay this guy right now, because they think, I really think Ryan Pace thinks that if Allen Robinson were to walk, there are guys out there with comparable skill sets who won't cost nearly as much, and Darnell Mooney can take over the reins at number one.
Yeah, and I think you could have 2 number 2s to start off. I'm sorry to cut you off, B-Don, and I'm sorry to go nuts to butts with you on this one, Duke, but Darnell Mooney cannot have a 5th-year option because he wasn't a first-round pick. So I hate to be that jag-off, but I have to be that jag-off. But go ahead, B-Don.
Yeah, I think personally it's one of those things where you keep him for this year. He's not going to re-sign, and at the end of the year, you go to free agency and you find a qualified 1A, 1B. That's what he is. He's not a number one receiver for 32 teams in this league. And you can also find talent in the draft. That, you know, Ryan Pace has shown that he can find talent. He can find talent in the late rounds. I don't think we don't have a first rounder next year, if I'm not mistaken. I think we start in the second or the third again, but still, you can find a great wide receiver in the second round. And also, to what Duke said, I mean, Jimmy Graham did pretty damn well last year. There was a lot of people calling for him to be cut for like a salary cap, like a little bit of help. Like, I don't understand that at all. The guy was money in the red zone. He's going to continue to, you know, mentor and teach Cole Kmet, who obviously I expect to have a good year. But, you know, other than that, maybe we'll see some Riley Ridley for once in our life. Maybe we'll see some more from Anthony Miller, because there's been times where he's looked great, and there's been times where it's like, when is the experiment over? So a lot of big years on the table. Everything is on the table. The meat is on the table. Everything. These guys need to figure it out on offense. And I think one of the things that we haven't talked about is, although we don't want Justin Fields running a lot, the RPO factor is going to open up a lot of those receivers that weren't open last year.
Yeah, and I guess the thing that's getting me the most about all this is Trey Burton was for a different era. Taylor Gabriel was for a different era. You know what I mean? Allen Robinson was part of a different plan. He was something that the Bears envisioned while they were building an offense around a different human being. How important is he moving forward, who I think is with a team that is max 1 year away from the Super Bowl, and now he's 29, 30, 31, 32. He is not so dominant in his late 20s and his prime that I feel like he's going to have a Julio Jones type of decline. Like, I think he can have a much higher decline. I just think it's kind of crazy to break the bank on a player like that when we've seen DK Metcalf, we've seen A.J. Brown, we've seen all these receivers come out, T. Higgins, Deebo Samuel, like all these guys that have come out in the second round. It happens every fucking year. Allen Robinson himself was a second rounder. It just doesn't make any sense to me for us to break the bank on a guy who seems to not give a fuck about being here at all. A guy who we overpaid coming out of an ACL injury. Like, let's not forget that. Who we overpaid. And it's like, at the least, you could have just not been a fucking dickhead. And it's just kind of left a sour taste in my mouth. And at the end of the day, I think he's a great player. Like I said, dependable, reliable receiver. Wouldn't call him a game changer. I wouldn't put him in the same category as these top guys. That's all.
Well, and the thing is, and this is going to sound like a meatball take, like, as a receiver gets older, one of the things they depend on the most is their speed. It's not a factor with Allen Robinson. He's not the fastest guy in the room. So that decline is going to come a lot quicker than a guy like Julio Jones or a guy like A.J. Brown or a guy like DK Metcalf, who have blazing speed.
Well, I mean, it also helps that he can run routes, so I think that might kind of put it a little bit more down the line.
If you're only getting 5-yard receptions, what are you doing?
Well, I don't think he's going to be as dominant down the line, obviously, but I really think, you know, another thing to be thrown in here too is we've only seen 2 truly healthy seasons out of Allen Robinson. His first season here, he really wasn't all that healthy, and that was kind of a big concern. I know I felt going into 2019 was we just signed Allen Robinson all this money. He's coming off an ACL injury, and he looked all right. He didn't look great. So I mean, yeah, you know, when you want to look at it, there's 2 great years in a row. Or good to great, however you want to refer to it. But I feel like we need to see more before we would even really consider giving him a ton of money in the first place, you know, besides everything else that we've kind of brought up here. And, you know, kind of like you said, Lucas, dude, the drafts are always full of wide receivers. Like, there's always talent out there. Plus, we have a lot of guys that we just brought in this year at wide receiver, you know, and there are guys who still haven't fully gotten their opportunities yet in this offense at wide receiver, you know, and a lot of it has to do with Allen Robinson taking up snaps. So who knows? You know, I really would not mind seeing us test things out this year with the wide receiver room, because I'm assuming that, you know, if Matt Nagy is any indication, we're going to have a pretty loaded wide receiver room like we do every single year. We're going to carry like 6 or 7 fucking wide receivers going into week 1 because that's how he likes to roll it, you know. Riley Ridley, of course, isn't going to get any snaps, but I mean, why?
No, yeah, he fucked somebody's fucking sister.
Yeah, but I mean, like, why not
give it snaps to Javon Wims?
All right, and I actually really like that idea because I want to play with what you're talking about, because I think we might see a swing for the first time with running backs. over receivers because it seems like one of them is more limited than the other every year. But no, you're right about that, Duke. But I just want to give you a couple stats about Allen Robinson. Allen Robinson had a 2.3 yards like separation, like on average, or it's a new advanced next gen stat. But to me, it pretty much means this is how open this guy is getting. And don't get me wrong, there's a ton of things that go into it that would make a number smaller or bigger. So I'm not saying it can't be skewed like a bullshit scheme, a bald fraud for a head coach. Like there are multiple things that could skew these stats, but he had 2.3 as a separation. And just someone like Christian Kirk is 3.5, Curtis Samuel 3.5, Hunter Renfrow 3.5, a Gerald Everett's 3.6. So we're talking a huge swing. He's under a lot of people, and don't get me wrong, he's close to some guys like a DJ Chark or like a who I speak very highly of, like an AJ Brown or something like that. But I just don't think he gets the separation that people are. Like I said, he's just not as dominant as people make it out to be. There's a reason why all of his catches seem to be contested. Maybe it's because he's not getting that open. And like I said, that could be very well because of the scheme. Because I think Matt Nagy is the biggest fucking issue on this team, bar none. Like we can go about that all day long.
We don't got enough time.
Just not a quality coach. But that's just some food for thought.
We even saw though last year we even saw to put Allen Robinson and beat on Parker to bed. It's we even saw it last year. He couldn't get the 50-50 ball like he used to, bro. He lost quite a few.
All right, Ronnie Luce. Seeing Miller, a second round pick. See, I'm trying to get used to this StreamYard shit because you can get questions while it's going on. I'm just gonna be honest with you guys. I don't know why my hat looks all stupid. But seeing Miller,
you just genuinely look stupid. So
I usually do. You're right.
Know that because he put his hat backwards. He's like, I can't have it sideways. I was tripping too.
But does seeing Miller, a second round pick, thanks, very well noted. They actually traded up to, I believe, with the Patriots at the back of the second round to get him in 2018. Not fully developed. Concern your thought about the Bears' ability. Like I said, I think it's the bald fraud. That's my biggest worry. Riley Ridley hasn't developed. The only receivers that have really done well in Chicago, I guess Taylor Gabriel's the outlier, but Allen Robinson, who was a veteran by the time he got here, and Darnell Mooney, who was fucking in a shortened training camp. You can't tell me Nagy got him up to speed super quick in 18 days. No, he probably just was fucking a very underrated receiver from a small school. And that's that. How do I get rid of this, Ronnie?
I just click on it again. To that point, because I love just jumping on Matt Nagy when I can. I really do think that is a large part to do with it because Matt Nagy has this problem with instead of playing players to their strengths, he wants to bring them and mold them into his system. It does not matter.
To jam a trumpet in their ass,
dude.
And
literally,
fucking fart.
Like, dude, it does not matter what you do well. It's what you're about to try to do well in Matt Nagy's offense. And that's the number one fucking problem I think I have with the guy is he's consistently just tried to put squares in round holes. Like, that's all he's done. Like, he's played fucking Cordero Patterson in like 37 different spots. Like, I really like Cordero Patterson, but I'm glad he's gone just so Nagy can't use him like an idiot anymore. And I'm scared of Tariq Cohen being back because I'm scared that Matt Nagy's going to use him like an idiot too. Like, God, he's so fucking bald and he's such a fucking fraud. I can't handle him.
I mean, one would hope he wears a hat so that we don't have to see his bald head, but he probably won't do that.
He's gonna visor it up. He's gonna buff his dome before every single game.
I hope it fucking burns in the Soldier Field sun. Like I really do.
Yeah,
just red dome.
Here's my issue with I think Matt Nagy, for the most part. Well, I see. The Tariq Cohen thing's a double-edged sword because I think he did unlock him, and we heard Dow Loggins or John Fox be like, yeah, Tariq Cohen's too good to use him, or essentially something along those lines. And I think he did unlock him, but I think he overemphasized Tariq Cohen in year two. You know what I mean? Like year one, he comes in, it's like Tariq Cohen kind of surprised the league, and then I think he tried to do way too much with Tariq Cohen. Again, trying to fit fucking square pegs into round holes or however you want to call it.
Trying to turn Tariq Cohen into Tyreek Hill instead of turning Tariq Cohen into a better version of Tariq Cohen. That's my entire issue.
Fucking
my favorite was throwing 3rd and 9 to Tariq Cohen at the sticks, like a jump ball to Tariq Cohen. That was my head exploded when that happened. I was like,
and if you think about how big of a fucking fraud Matt Nagy is, can you really? I can think of 2 screen passes in the entire time he's been here that have worked out well. One was the screen to Tariq Cohen, I believe, against the Jets, where it was just fucking, he was gone. The second he caught the ball, he was gone. That was in 2018.
The Jets, though, you take that with a grain of salt.
And then the 2019 Dallas Cowboys, when we just bitch slapped him, and Mitch Trubisky looked like a Hall of Famer.
Yeah.
But if I'm not mistaken, there was a wide receiver screen that Anthony Miller scored his first touchdown of the year on in that Dallas game. Now, my recall could be off, but those are the only 2 screen passes that I've seen work. I've never seen him work in those tight end. Oh, well, I guess
I'll say the tight end screen with Trey Burton in 2018, that fucking play hit.
I'm not calling that a screen. I'm calling that a fucking ball fart because it didn't hit. And
I'm giving Mitch all the credit in the world for that play.
Yeah, I don't know, but all right, let's move forward to that idea, though, because I think you brought up a really good point, Duke, about, having a ton of wide receivers usually every single year, but I don't think that's going to be the case this year. I think we're going to see more running backs, to be honest. You think you got Damian Williams, Herbert, you got Tariq Cohen, David Montgomery, obviously. Those are like locks, in my opinion, and Damian Williams. And then I think, you got CJ Marable and a couple guys like that I think could find their way onto the roster if they're able to contribute on special teams.
Roll Chanticleers.
Let's go.
I mean, between Herbert and Marable, I like what they did in the draft alone. And thank God, I'm sorry if you're listening, Buzz, but Ryan Nall will finally go be an insurance agent or go sell cars or do what he does. Like, he will not be a Chicago Bears running back anymore. It's a lot of speed. And little playoff Damian, he played over there in the Chiefs offense. You got to expect he'll be wanting to have a bounce back year, especially after not playing. I don't believe he played last year, if I'm not mistaken. But anyway you look at it, Montgomery continued to get better last year, even in the spots that we didn't have Tariq Cohen. And Tariq Cohen is like that wild card. When you have him in the offense, as much as we hate all the different things that Matt Nagy does with him, when he finds the spot to put him in at the right time, Tariq Cohen usually gets the play done, and we saw that playmaking ability elude this offense down the stretch last year when we didn't have him, and they had to get creative in different ways. So having him back and then an arsenal of backs that can take situational carries, it's going to bode well for that offense. And as much as we've hated on the line, I do think they have done a lot of good work in the offseason. Hopefully these guys can, grow up big time in training camp in Borum and Tevin Jenkins.
Well, do remember, and I do like that offensive line point. I feel like that's what we should roll into here in a minute. But remember, we did get creative on offense once Bill Lazor started calling plays. So I really do think that's kind of a big part of it.
He is not bald, and he doesn't wear a visor.
Well, and we ran a completely different fucking offensive philosophy that completely jived with our offensive line that was built, that I've written fucking several articles on AntiSportsNet.com. Go ahead and check it out under our Bears tabs. But no, they ran a completely fucking different offensive philosophy. Not only a different, and don't get me wrong, there were similar route concepts, things like that, and passing plays, and there were times they went back to their ultimate tendencies. But when it came to the running game, they were running a outside zone or stretch zone, inside zone type running scheme. However you want to call it. But yeah, it was beneficial to everyone. A lot more combo blocking, a lot more trying to get guys out into, instead of just being like, hey, head up, can you sprint out and take care of this fucking linebacker man-to-man? You got the whole line shifting in one way together so that guy can easily break off and just do a quick little rub block. Nice little fucking rub, and Dave Montgomery can find a cutback lane. And it makes me sick to my goddamn stomach that Matt Nagy tarnished something. And don't get me wrong, I think the Bears are in a better place now that they're able to retool. The future in my eyes is really fucking bright. But they have the ability to retool with the salary cap, the draft. They have a quarterback back on a rookie window. Like, things look really, really up. But things look that way in 2018 too. And I think we all got fooled by a big fucking bald fraud. And I think he's going to be the main thing setting us back. I don't think he's safe in any way, shape, or form. And I actually love the fact that are I love the fact that our team, the Chicago Bears, is having such a ridiculously hard schedule, because if for some reason Dinky Boy wants to put up 6 wins or something stupid and not go win a couple games that he should, he's fucked. I truly believe that. I truly believe that with everything in my soul.
Well, and kind of with like everything you said, that all I could think of was how appealing that sounds to our next head coach. Like everything that you just brought up about the contract control, about some of the young players we brought in, everything. I've just hearing that makes you think like, holy shit, could you imagine if like one of the best coaches in college football were to come in here, or like one of the best, offensive coordinators that doesn't work for Andy fucking Reid comes in here, you know what I mean? Because I'm done with the whole, we need to replicate Andy Reid's offense, a guy that can come in and just use these guys to the talents that they have, let the defense do their fucking thing, and not make the defense have to carry us every single game. We don't need a top 10 offense. I feel like a lot of people get lost in this. We don't need an offense that blows the fucking lid off the league. We need a top 15 offense with the defense we have right now to win a lot of fucking football games. Like even last year, even with fucking, ball farter of the year, fucking Chuck Pagano, if our offense,
say it right. Repeat
Don't
it.
ever go. Yeah.
Chuck Pagano, if our offense is even like middle of the league, we probably a 10-win football team. But that just kind of shows, and I hate to just keep fucking piling on Matt Nagy, and I'm sure everyone who loves Matt Nagy is just gonna fucking hate this live stream right now, but I really don't care. What the fuck are you doing for us? Like, what does Matt Nagy do for us? His entire job is to run the offense. Like,
no, he's a jagoff. He's bad at his job. It's very fucking clear. And you know what, too? This whole little Allen Robinson debate, I'm sorry, I'm slapping my mouse at you, but this whole little Allen Robinson debate, a lot of people are throwing Mitchie Mitch under the bus. Listen, Mitchie Mitch is not a Hall of Famer, okay? He's not as fucking bad as people made him out to be. But at the end of the day, you're gonna get your ticket cashed. Either you're gonna be right or you're gonna be wrong. So this whole throwing this guy under the fucking bus all year, in the offseason, acting like Justin Fields is just gonna just rain down upon all of Chicago sports and just fucking everything's gonna go away and everything's gonna be perfect. Like,
and that would be fucking outstanding.
It is Judgment Day this fucking year, baby. Someone's ticket's getting stamped. I don't care if it's mine, because then at least the Bears are a Super Bowl contender. But that's it, bro. It's coming.
At plus 5,000 too. That's going to be a very heavy ticket to get stamped.
It's not happening, bro. You don't get a 7.5 fucking win total in Vegas and pull out a Super Bowl. It's never happened before.
Yeah, I mean, and if it fucking did and Justin Fields sets the league on fire, like, that's fucking great. Kind of like you said, Lucas, like if we barely play Justin Fields or Justin Fields struggles this year, Matt Nagy has to be the guy going out the door. Matt Nagy needs to be the guy that everyone's fucking points at.
Week 1 through 8, because then when he comes in and sharts on his fucking nuts, then that's it.
Yeah, and it's almost like Nagy's just doing it to buy fucking time, because he can show that
he's trick in the book.
Yeah, exactly.
The oldest trick in the book, Duke.
Yeah. Oh, you don't want to see that I can't fucking develop this guy? Well, we're just not going to show you him then.
We're just going to start this fucking guy that couldn't even produce with 3 number 1 receivers. We're going to just start him for fucking 8 weeks, just so you don't have the time to observe that I suck balls.
Yeah, QB1, baby. We gotta trust him, dude. Just fucking Andy's got to go out there and be you. Fucking I don't even have my visor up here. I'm disappointed.
Yeah, dude, it's crazy how every episode just turns into us talking about Matt Nagy sucking. It always finds a way.
It's fucking easy. It is easy airtime. I will fucking scream from the mountaintops into the Sears Tower how bad Matt Nagy farts on his balls.
I mean, call a spade a spade. It is what we are dealt with this year. And like you said, Lucas, if things go catastrophically wrong, the podcast will probably be a little bit longer, a little bit angrier. But at the end of the day, it will be worth it, because we will have a new head coach.
There's a future. No, I truly believe that with Justin Fields. I'm not sitting here being like whatever, but there's one more thing that's got to go. Even as someone who liked Mitchell Trubisky, had to go. Was not going to work out in Chicago. Was never going to happen. I wish him the best in Buffalo. Married. Yeah, congratulations. I can't believe how many people talk shit to him on his wedding day, like for no fucking reason at all.
Fucking losers.
Wasn't going to happen. Had to move on. I truly believe Justin Fields, with everything I've seen, and I'm kind of mad at myself for being ignorant to it, pre-draft process, because I definitely laid off the whole like, OSU can't be a quarterback. Like, the kid made special throws and
that
big
narrative
games.
is trash. The
No,
narrative's trash.
it is
true, but it's trash. It has nothing
It's-
to do with Justin Fields.
It will be true with Mac Jones, okay? But nonetheless, I think Justin Fields did unbelievable things, but I think it's the stuff off the field. It's the QB1 beyond the lights. It's having cameras in his face since high school. It's having huge expectations everywhere he's gone and him meeting those expectations. Like, I think he's shown a very mature way. And I even saw something from Beyond the Lights. I posted it a while ago and wrote an article, but just extremely mature in how he handled himself and how he answered questions about expectations and how to manage those expectations or meet them. So I feel like it's something that we need. It's almost like he's got the niceness of Mitchell Trubisky, but he's also got that cocksuckerness of Jay Cutler. Like, that's how I see it. You know what I'm saying? And I've said that a million times. Oh, look at Dylan. Of course I put that up. Of course we're studs. No, but legit, I think we needed to meet somewhere in the middle. Mitch was too nice. Jay just was too much of a jagoff, and we needed something right. And I think that's Justin Fields.
Well, dude, I think Justin is a guy who he just irradiates been there before. He's been there before. Justin Fields in every fucking level has been there before. He's been good in middle school, high school, college. He's a guy who hasn't had anything fucking handed to him. He had to transfer from Georgia to Ohio State and fucking go prove himself out there. You know, because Ohio State, man, regardless of what, you know, any of us have ever said about Ohio State quarterbacks, you got to produce out there. Your fucking leash is insanely short. And Justin Fields went out there and dominated. You know, so there's something to be said about that. Justin Fields just brings this like aura of, this ain't too big for me. None of this is too big for me. Me being the franchise quarterback of the Chicago Bears, that's just another fucking challenge. And that's what I eat up about Justin Fields probably the most, you know, besides his obvious fucking talent, is just he has a confidence about him. He has this fucking swagger about him. Like, he does not fucking care what anyone on the internet has to say. He doesn't care about what anyone in the Chicago media has to say. And I hope that sticks when fucking, you know, the inevitable one jagoff is going to write an article just blasting him because he throws a complete pass on second down. Yeah, but like, I really think he's a guy who's been there before. And that's exactly what the Chicago Bears have fucking needed. I feel like we've drafted guys and we've brought in guys who were maybe the big fish in the small pond, or guys who just kind of looked great in college. You know, I love you, Mitch, but goddamn, dude, that's exactly what you were. And it really feels like this is a guy who's just going to jump in the NFL, just continue doing exactly what he's doing, not really think too much about it. Obviously fix some things, you know, to go into the NFL level, but I don't think any challenge is too big for Justin Fields.
Yeah, and for me, I mean, he's a gamer. You're never out of a game with Justin Fields at the quarterback position. He's the most athletic quarterback that we've had in the history of the team. I'm not going to go back to the 30s when they didn't pass the ball and all they did was run. Justin Fields is the real deal. Like you said, the only like blip on his radar is a coach at Georgia being a jagoff and starting Jake Fromm over him, which like that in hindsight looks like a terrible decision because Justin Fields, first rounder, Jake Fromm's probably going to be out of
I think you're being a little nice. It was an awful play. It's very clear it was a fucking terrible decision.
Hey, I don't like Georgia, but I'm trying to, you know, hot mic Don, not go too crazy, but
that's where all Proquan's from.
I know. They have good defensive players. There's nothing wrong with that.
And Leonard Floyd was a fucking, that's another guy that got literally shit dragged all over Chicago. That just
the last good quarterback to come from Georgia was Matthew Stafford. And also, too, we're going to be wearing our blues on the road. I don't know if you guys saw that in week 1. The Rams are wearing some sort of like white. It's kind of new.
Dude, man, fuck the all blues. I want the all whites back already.
Yes,
like
the Gale Sayers all
fucking
white
ones that I want. Yeah, exactly, with the white logo on the helmet.
Hester in the Rams game.
85 Bears fucking Super Bowl uniforms, all fucking white. Or no, wait, those weren't all white, but they wore them a lot that year.
What kinds of hairs are you ripping out there?
Oh no.
Oh, dude, A-Lap, you're like the biggest Matt Nagy's fucking stan out there.
If low key.
All right, ban Dylan from the chat, please.
Dylan's done. No, if low key, if we still had Manscaped, that would have been a perfect way to plug them. But
yeah,
I have no idea what Manscaped is. Let's never.
No, I've never even heard of it. Actually,
no
I'm not wearing their cotton undershirt underneath this jersey.
No free ads
underneath your
I don't know what this shit is.
underneath your Cedric Benson jersey. Underneath the Cedric Benson jersey.
That's dirty.
Here we go, Brad.
Let's go.
Mason's like in those all whites,
Brad
baby.
gets it.
It's the
Brad
cleanest. It's the
understands.
cleanest looking sports.
Oh, dude, we're live on Facebook. I didn't even share that. I'm such a
Facebook,
bad
We're,
man for
we're
that.
live on all platforms, baby. We just don't know how to work technology, but we appreciate you for listening, Brad. And no, definitely the all whites are awesome. I know I'm wearing a blue jersey right now. I just do it because I'm fat and I spill too much.
Same.
So that's
I
kind of
feel
why
you
I
on
get the
that.
blue ones.
I
I
can't
love
wait
the
to-
whites though.
my white Mitch jersey has so many fucking stains on it. Like, my God.
Just mustard all over the place.
only
pizza
white one I
sauce,
have-
pretzel cheese, whatever you could think of. Fucking jalapeno poppers.
I-
just
Oh,
Yeah,
dude, I had a
you-
fucking nasty, like, au jus fucking
Yep.
stain right here just from eating fucking beefs, just half drunk.
Just face and beefs. But yeah,
Oh, yeah, dude. Just
I got a white Walter Payton jersey, and the rest are all blue, the navy blue. But all right, here's a fun one. What's the weirdest or most like abstract Bears jersey that you have in your closet? The strangest jersey.
Strangest? I mean, I have a bootleg Roquan Smith jersey that I don't want to
No,
talk
no,
about.
no,
that I got
no, no,
duped-
no,
that I
no,
got
no.
duped into buying. Like
I'm
a
talking
drag
like
off.
straight like the player on the back of the jersey. What's the like weirdest one you got? Or
So,
like could have that.
like Bears.
Yeah, just Bears.
Mine has to be fucking mine has to be my Grossman jersey. I have an orange and blue Grossman jersey.
See, I don't have anything obscure because I never was like. I only bought dudes that were on the squad forever. Like I have a Kyle Long jersey, but that's because he was an All Pro or a Pro Bowler his first 3 years. I'm so fucking mush. I'm probably the reason why he got injured after that.
Terrible.
Or it could be
Terrible.
Yeah, could be because they were fucking moving him around the whole offensive line, like shuffling around like he was a deck. That could have been part of it as well. But either way, I don't have anything obscure. I have like an Eric Kramer jersey, but every jersey I
Okay,
bought,
that'll
like
play.
this is
That'll
like
play.
The
I've been
Kramer
buying-
jersey plays. The
Does
Kramer
it
play?
jersey plays.
Yeah, that plays.
Yeah, that plays.
I think I have a Bobby Hall. I might be remembering this wrong, but I have a Bobby Hall Wolves jersey, if I'm not mistaken.
Chicago Wolves, Blackhawks probably.
No, it's a Wolves jersey. It's someone very big that played for the Wolves before they went to the NHL. So I don't know why I said Bobby Hall, but it was someone that played for the Wolves and then became a Blackhawk. I have it somewhere.
We'll have to ask the four.
It's a little kid's jersey. I wouldn't even fit it ever again.
So, all right, I'll do both then. But my weirdest Bears jersey is a Mark Anderson jersey.
Oh,
Don't-
that's awful.
Oh,
Yeah. Well, listen, there's a story with it.
Hey, that Super Bowl year was awesome.
There's
I
a
love
story
Mark
with
Anderson
it.
that year.
So I got the Mark Anderson award because I wasn't too good, but I still got a little bit of burn. Still made some plays in like 8th grade football. So instantly, like for Christmas, my mom got me that right away. And then I would say the weirdest like actual jersey I have. I used to have like a Paul Pierce jersey with like the actual clover in the middle, all black, and I was just like the fattest little kid. It just didn't look right.
No, it probably looked incredible. If you got any pictures like that, DM it to me. It was probably fucking...
I'll look for him, bro. I'll look for him. But
All right. Well, I think that about does it for today. You know, we still got a couple weeks out from training camp. We're gonna obviously get back to our regular scheduled programming as soon as training camp starts, and we got some preseason to look at. Man, speaking of preseason, this is like the most anticipated preseason ever, bro.
Join us at the Mitchy Mitch game. What is it? August 23rd.
Dude, I am bringing a Jay Cutler Cuts box to this fucking tailgate. We are just straight grilling meats all fucking day.
Cody, I'm gonna get right on that. Jordan Lynch, NIU and Bears legend.
So me and my girlfriend just moved in together recently. That's why there's like boxes all over the place. But she actually ordered like Wagyu beef, whatever that is, a something. I don't know, but we had.
It's like Wagyu. It's like an Australian fucking beef or something.
No,
like
it's
that.
from Japan. Jag off.
Oh yeah,
It's like me asking. It's like me. Is Portugal in Europe? They're playing in the Euro.
No, dude, I'm honestly, dude, straight up, full disclosure. The reason I thought of that was the fucking kitchen nightmares with some Australian fuck serving Wagyu beef that sucked
Nah,
ass.
you just got your meat card revoked, bro.
Long story short, shit was expensive. It was
Fuck
shipped
outta
on
here.
dry ice, but it was worth every penny if you get a chance to try it. definitely would try it. But yeah, that about does it for today. We are Bears on Tap. Go ahead and follow us at Bears on Tap or follow On Tap Sportsnet for all of your Chicago sports needs. I'm Lucas Perfetti. You can follow me at at Lucas Perfetti 46. Wow, what a jag off. I don't even know my own thing. And then we also have that pod guy Duke, Mr. Duke Coughlin, and Speed on 300.
Trying to do the Disney thing.
Mr. Brandon Suarez just fucked up his own promo.
Yeah.
Thank you very much. And you guys have a beautiful night. Bear down.
Yeah, bear down.
Bear down.